When I got diagnosed, I felt a sense of powerlessness. I have no control over what's going to happen to me in the next 12 to 18 months and thereafter. I've never had cancer. I don't know what I need.
As we go through chemo, we're losing our hair and our eyebrows and our eyelashes. You lose your feminine side. People who haven't gone through cancer might think, oh, it's just a vanity thing. It comes down to identity.
I didn't know that there were nonprofits out there that helped with wigs, that helped with cold capping, that help with rides to appointments. We have to search that. It's like hidden information. That's really what it's about. How do I walk through these next 18 months and still feel beautiful and still feel like a woman?
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Cancer Proof Living. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Michelle, an 8-year non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer survivor, mom, and certified integrative nutrition health coach. After cancer, I wanted more than just survival, so I built the healing roadmap that I couldn't find. Now I guide survivors and cancer-conscious humans to detox, rebuild, and thrive. In this episode, I'm talking with Kelly Rovetto. And we talk about her amazing resource, Re-Femme, a platform that supports cancer patients, caregivers, and cancer survivors. Her platform is literally everything I needed after I was diagnosed with cancer, you guys. Kelly shares all the secrets, tools, and resources that are included on her platform for free. This episode is so incredibly important if you know anyone or you yourself has been touched by cancer. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. Kelly Rovetto is a breast cancer survivor and the founder of Re-Femme, an online digital platform created to support women throughout their active cancer journey. Re-Femme provides trusted tips, tools, beauty and wellness services, and education designed to reduce isolation, increase support, and make the journey feel more manageable and humane. So grab a pen and paper because you will definitely need it for this episode. And please share it with anyone you know who's been touched by cancer. Let's get it started. Kelly, I'm so excited to welcome you to the Cancer Proof Living podcast and to talk further about your company and introduce my whole community to your company. It's going to be fantastic. And I couldn't be more excited to have this conversation with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. And Michelle, I'm so honored to be asked to come on. And I cannot wait to talk about you and how you're offering so much to women who are both newly diagnosed going through the cancer journey, and then those we were talking about it the other day and survivorship, after the journey. I think it's the work that you do is just so incredibly important as well.
Oh my gosh, both of us. Honestly, both of us. Anything that we can do to help people, that is what we're here for. So let's give everybody a little background into your story. Can you share with us a little bit about your cancer journey and really what inspired you to launch Re-Femme?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed February the 19th of last year. I was diagnosed with triple positive stage 2 breast cancer. So chemotherapy was a part of my journey, as well as mastectomy, reconstruction, and I'm currently still on immunotherapy injections. That's kind of a look at and tamoxifen, which is a hormone blocker. So that's a quick snapshot of my diagnosis. And it's interesting, Michelle, because 12 years ago, my full-time job, I'm a medical device rep and I sell in the plastic reconstructive space. So I sell devices that help with breast reconstruction for women who are diagnosed with cancer. So very well versed on the clinical medical aspect of the journey, but then to be thrown into this journey as a patient, it was like so overwhelming, so overwhelming. And when I learned I was going to have to endure 18 weeks of chemotherapy, my mind, it literally takes your breath away. It took my breath away. I was just like, oh my gosh. I had 2 questions to my oncologist. The first was, am I going to die? And then the second was, what's going to happen to my hair and my lashes and my skin, all the things, my muscles, because I am active and I knew that chemo really works to kill everything in your body. And so I was in a lot of fear about that. And I found myself asking so many questions about identity, femininity, like what's going to happen to me? Like, how am I going to look? And that has nothing to do with vanity. That has everything to do with self-identity. We look in the mirror. And so I noticed that beyond the clinic walls, I would leave the office and get home and be so inundated and overwhelmed with what do I need for this part of my journey? What other questions should I be asking? What is cold capping? Is that something the hospital will cover? Do they submit the claim for me or do I? Just these little questions that well, they're huge questions for a woman who gets diagnosed. They're so important. So I'd get home and I expected there to be a one stop this day and age in 2025 last year. I was like, oh, certainly there's a place I can go to and it'll have all the educational information I need, all of the beauty and wellness services that I might want to partake in, such as a big, huge thing right now, well, with my cancer diagnosis, I know a lot about nutrition, right? Like I've been through certain programs but as it relates to knowing about nutrition and then getting diagnosed, nutrition all of a sudden became confusing, like a puzzle. Like, whatever I'm putting in my mouth, am I hurting myself? Am I healing myself? I don't know anymore because your body we talked about this the other day too. Your body just, it turned on me, And so on a dime, I was like questioning everything, what I put in my body, what exercise, like, do I need to do all these things. So from a beauty and wellness standpoint, I did not feel supported by my hospital. And so when I got home, I spent hours Googling and searching. And, there's so much information out there about cancer. And I was extremely overwhelmed. And I was like, I just want a streamlined, centralized platform where women who are newly diagnosed or on their journey or on the other end of it, like me right now, thank God I'm cancer free. I had a complete response to chemo, but I'm still on this journey, you know? And there are a ton of survivor face groups. They scare the hell out of me because it's a lot of like,
Yeah. I had to I remember after I finished chemo, I joined all the Facebook groups for lymphoma. It was the worst decision. And no offense, they can be so helpful for people out there. For me personally, it was so overwhelming to hear everybody's scan scares, fears of reoccurrence happening. It just became so overwhelming where I was like, I have to delete these accounts. Like, there's no way I can participate. This isn't the type of support that I thrive in, you know?
right. And I'm so glad you said that because it's very scary. I too had to get off of these support groups. So that was a pain point, right? I want connection, but I want connection with hope. And I want connection that comforts me, not scares me. So I didn't plan on launching Re-Femme during my journey. I was trying to solve my own problem, right? So I wanted a place where I could read about advancements in cancer care and what do I need to do to make this journey easier and softer. And I was finding little pieces here and there, but nothing centralized. And so I started keeping notes and things it turned into just something for if a girlfriend gets diagnosed after me, for the woman who comes after me, because as you know, when you're diagnosed, all of a sudden women come out of the woodwork, oh, my sister's aunt, my boyfriend's sister, can they call you? And so you create your own little community, right? And so for me, it was very important to take notes because I wanted to be able to help the next woman. And I think that's one component. The second component, so education, the second component or pain point that I experienced in my diagnosis was not just education, but education, a comforting way of finding out information, not scary. The second was managing my friends and family in regards to how can we help you? What can we do? That was the first questions I got from my friends and my family. And I was, I sound like a broken record, but I've never had cancer. I don't know what I need. Like, I have no idea what I need. And so I'm the type of woman too that doesn't like to ask for help. So when women, when my family was like, what can we do? I was like, oh, I'm good. And I got 20 bathrobes and tons of flowers. And these weren't tangible this was not, it wasn't helpful to me. So I learned early on, I'm going to have to figure out a way to ask for help. And so that's where the registry came in, right? Like I was looking for, like a baby or wedding registry. I knew that there were specific products that were needed for each component of a woman's cancer journey. And let's keep in mind, this isn't just for women with breast cancer. This is for women with all types of cancer. And even though our cancers are different, a lot of times the journey is the same. You have to go through chemo, right? Radiation, surgery. So, looking for products that were curated to each component of a woman's journey. I mean, it's insane to me. It's not out there. You have to search mastectomy bra. You have to search drain pockets for showers after your mastectomy. Hysterectomy pillows for women who are going through ovarian or cervical cancer. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to create it. I'm going to create. And that's truly where the idea came. It was me trying to solve my own problem. I wanted to provide a list of products that were survivor vetted and oncology discussed and approved, right? So I did a lot of conversating with my oncologists, my plastic surgeons, and all the products on the registry are products that were approved by not only oncologists, but also survivor vetted, right? So you can go on Amazon right now and you can create a wish list and you can say cancer, breast cancer, but then you're left with 50,000 reviews, like so many options that it already overwhelms you. And that's what I tried to do initially. And I'm like, this is too much. I wanted it to be specialized. I wanted it to be a list that was really, really tangible. And most importantly, to go back to how friends and family can help, I wrote down the things that helped me the most. So, Uber Eats gift cards, something as simple as that. To be able to add that to your registry and tell friends and family, oh, do you want to help me? You can come to my registry. So, GoFundMe is out there right now, right? And GoFundMe is a great resource and I think it's wonderful. But I wanted something that was not so transactional. Like, here's a GoFundMe. So on Re-Femme, women have the ability or the benefit to create contribution. We call them wellness funds. So if somebody wants to partake in a service, right? So, me and you were kind of talking about your program, your nutritional program. And for a woman who maybe can't afford that, but wants that guidance. They have the ability to add that service to their registry. So friends and family can contribute. It's a way for them to contribute. They can also contribute money to wigs, coal capping, or if women don't go through chemotherapy and they just want funds to help with whatever they want. I mean, I'm not policing how they use their funds. They can do that, and laundry service gift cards, Mary Maids gift cards for when a woman doesn't feel like, cleaning her house. So it's just so that component of allowing friends and family to help in meaningful ways is, really creating that registry and having it within my platform or I like to call it an ecosystem because I want to keep building it, right? So right now you've got an educational component, which is a must read section.
I was going to say, before we go into Re-Femme, let me take a step back. First and foremost, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I'm so glad that you're on the other side of it all. I'm so glad you're in survivorship. Although I know it's its own journey and beast of itself, it's great to be on the other side of it and have that pressure taken away. And I think you said some really, really important things that people can relate with, right? Especially with breast cancer, when you lose your feminine side, when you're losing your breasts, or you're losing your ovaries, and as we go through chemo, we're losing our hair and our eyebrows and our eyelashes. And like you and I were talking offline, we're both girly girls. We love our makeup. We love looking nice. We love presenting well, right? And it's really hard when these things are stripped away. And people who haven't gone through cancer might think, oh, it's just a vanity thing. When it, like you mentioned, it comes down to identity. And there's a huge identity shift that happens when we're going through cancer. And there's also a huge identity shift that happens after we've come through cancer in this survivorship piece, because you're really looking at it like, okay, well, now I'm not a cancer patient anymore. Who am I? I'm not the person I was before cancer. I have no idea who I am now. And who am I turning into? Who do I want this person to be? What's important to me? Because there's nothing like trauma or a cancer diagnosis that really can turn your life upside down and make you question everything and everybody in it. And it changes you to your core. And it really does create this identity shift. And I at least know, like, from my perspective going through cancer, oh my gosh, you'll laugh so hard. My chemo nurse probably thought I was insane, but she like before you start chemo, you basically have to sign off on like a 75-page document that tells you every bad thing that can ever happen in chemo, and like these are all the risks, the concerns, and blah blah blah. You have to sign off on it. And I remember just being so overwhelmed. This is being pushed in front of me, and I'm just reviewing over it. And she's going through a lot of like the cosmetic things, like, you can't eat lunch meat because of the bacteria, but you can't, get your hair done, or you can't do this. And I remember her saying, like, you can't get manicures. And I was like, and I just started bawling. Like, I broke down, and I'm like, in my head, I was like, it had nothing to do with the actual manicure. It had everything to do with the simple fact that you're telling me I'm losing all my hair, I'm losing all my eyelashes, I'm losing all my eyebrows. My entire physical appearance is going to change. I'm going to change. Like, I'm going through this enormous transformation. And like, it was kind of like the last straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm like, and as I was crying, I'm like, it's not really because of the nails, like it had nothing to do. It was just like, oh my God, I didn't. And I think in that split moment for me, it was like, I didn't realize how much my reality was going to change. And it was just like, holy shit. My life is over in a completely different way. And I don't know, the shitstorm that's about to hit me, but this 75-page document just scared the shit out of me, right? And so you're right, there's nowhere to go. You come home and you Google and you figure it out, and there's no like support system. So I just want you to know, like, I want you to feel heard in that. And it's so many cancer survivors out there, I think, really experience this same feeling of just the overwhelm and how hard that reality is to accept, and how that there's not a streamlined platform out there to help newly diagnosed patients and survivors out there. And so I completely can follow your path on like why you started Re-Femme and how you got there. And like you've dropped us some really good nuggets of like what the website contains in regards to the registry, in regards to recommendations. Tell me first though, or like explain to the audience who aren't familiar, how would you describe, well, you've described who Re-Femme is for, but describe exactly what it is and then what it contains.
Yes. And I can certainly do that. I wanted to thank you for sharing the emotional component of cancer. And I think, so I'll answer your question first, and then we can kind of talk about more about the emotional component, because that's the biggest, right? I mean, I could talk about that all day. Re-Femme is a centralized ecosystem essentially for any woman who is going through their cancer journey at any point during their cancer journey. And it was designed and created to help women feel less exhausted, less isolated, and more supported with helpful tools, tips, products, resources such as services that can help them feel like I said, less isolated and more supported, and to make their journey easier and softer. So, the components were created based upon the unmet needs that I encountered on my journey. And for me, truly, to just go back to that moment when I learned that I was diagnosed with when I heard the words invasive, they didn't say you have cancer. They said, you were diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma. And I knew the word carcinoma. I knew what that meant. And the minute I heard those words, it complete shock. You want to talk about trauma. But, they say that close to 96% of women who are diagnosed with cancer do encounter post-traumatic stress disorder.
If you are walking around as a cancer survivor and you don't have some sort of PTSD, like I would love to give you a hug because that is such a blessing because we are left with such destruction of our nervous system, and the post-traumatic stress that occurs after diagnosis is so real, it's so valid, it's so hard.
It is. It's extremely hard. And I think that when I got diagnosed, and I've talked to so many women about this of all forms of cancer, I felt a sense of it's a sense of powerlessness. I have no power. I have no control over what's going to happen to me in the next 12 to 18 months and thereafter. And I felt powerless in that. So what do I do when I feel powerless? I look for things to control. So for me, it's I want to clean my house. Cleaning for me is such a coping mechanism of when I can tell when I'm feeling powerless over a situation in my life, finance, romance, whatever it is. I will clean. Or
Your house is big as span. You walk in, you're like, okay, what's going on?
it's like nesting. It's like when you get pregnant, and you're like cleaning. And then, trying to tackle the whole nutrition and the whole fitness aspect of how is this going to look when I walk through cancer? What do I do? My biggest thing, talk about being a girly girl. My biggest thing is, what am I going to do when my lashes fall out? That was literally like, you want to talk about oncologists or chemo nurses thinking you're nuts. I would go in every day and ask my oncology, when I would have chemo or when I would have these appointments, I would ask them, do you know of any lashes that'll work when your lashes fall out? Like I need help. I need help. And they were like, dude, we're saving your life. Like we just go look. I'm sure you can search. I spent hundreds of dollars trying to find the right lashes, and I did, and they're on the site. But it's like these little bitty things that are so important. And you said, who is this platform? Who is this ecosystem, this space for women to come? Who's it for? It's not just for women who are going through their cancer journey. It's also for the caretakers and the loved ones too, because sometimes I feel like they're forgotten, right? They're the ones that are, doing the dishes when we are sick or taking us to the appointments because we can't drive because we have drains due to surgery. So it's a way too for caretakers and loved ones to come onto the site and be able to help, either help create a registry for their loved ones, or there's educational material about, the emotional side of what happens to a caretaker, what happens to a loved one when their loved one is diagnosed and they're having to walk the journey.
Because they experience trauma too, and it's part of their story as well. It's very, very I was a caregiver before I was a cancer patient, so I know firsthand, like, how much caregivers really go through and how they do get forgotten. Not that they even need to be remembered or, like, acknowledged anyway, but you do put your needs aside when you see somebody that you love so much struggling and you're the person taking care of them.
You do, yeah. And I think, I'm very, I can tell you probably are too. I'm a very type A woman. So it's like, I want things done. I want things organized. I want to know. I was the type of woman that like went into these appointments. I'm glad my oncologist was a driver, meaning she just gave me like, this is what we're going to do. I don't want to hear about your kids. I don't want to hear about I want you to tell me what I need to do what I need for this journey. And so that was a way of me trying to control, right? And so coming home and having to search for things that I needed or questions I should be asking, going to all these different places on the internet, I got so exhausted, and that wasn't even the component of like getting, packing for chemo. It was like, well, what do I bring to chemo? And there's so many lists out there that are so ridiculous. Like, oh, you bring this and you bring that and you bring headphones and it's like, well, I'm cold capping. I'm trying to save my hair. So I, I can't bring headphones. Like little bitty things like that. Like the biggest the biggest thing, the number one thing that I have on all my lists for chemo is a power strip, a power cord. And people would be like, "What?" A lot of cancer centers where women get chemo, they only have one outlet. And it's either one for you, one extra. So you can plug, I'm cold capping, so I need a heating blanket. I have a loved one with me. They need a plug in, and so that was the very first thing we texted a friend of mine.
I love that. That's such a good suggestion.
It is. It's just, but it wouldn't have occurred unless it was a real world suggestion. And I haven't read that on any list that I've Googled when I was getting ready for chemo.
What are some of the other tools that really helped you when you were going through chemo?
My barefoot dreams robe, I like absolutely loved it. So comfortable. My heating blanket, I'd bring my heating blanket to chemo. My electrolyte packets for my water, my Owala bottle, like my water bottle. I mean, something as simple as just water, right? Like one of my favorite gifts that I received during chemo. It wasn't the chemo. That's the other thing. People will send these huge like chemo baskets or things that companies will put together and they're great in theory, but it's like a post-it note telling you what I like throw all that stuff out. What makes sense to me, what made sense to me was, they want to put a chemo package together. Give me a heating blanket, a robe, an outlet, water.
Some non-toxic products, not like toxic products that you're gonna put on your skin as you're going through chemo, Yeah.
And that's a huge one, but, like, what I was saying is, like, one of my favorite gifts I got was when people would drop off cases of water on my porch. That simple. They would just drop off water, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," you know? So, the non-toxic too, and that's what's really cool, when I was going through chemo, you really start thinking about, "How did I get th" we were talking about this too. "How did I get this? Is it my fault? Did I do this to myself? Is it because I used a plastic cutting board for 5 years in college, 4 years in college?" Like, all these things, and so I really started researching non-toxic cookware, non-toxic cleanware, cleaning supplies, non-toxic makeup, not all the things. Non-toxic deodorant. I mean, for how many years was I putting
Oh, I know. I know when I think about deodorant, it's just yeah, it's scary. It's scary.
it is, it's crazy, and, and not there's a level too of that I experienced of shame as it relates to the products I chose for my home because my family's using them too, right? So it was like, "Oh my god, I got cancer. I have a 14-year-old daughter." And I'm like, "Oh, she was using the deodorant that I suggested for her." Like, what, that is something that I've talked to several women about, and they're like,
But it's also like you don't know what you don't know. And we are being constantly pushed through marketing and through companies and campaigns horrible things for ourselves. So you're literally fighting a war that you don't need. You're fighting a war against these CPG companies, all the makeup and all Sephora and everything that it's like marketing to 14-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls, 9-year-old girls. It's all the fragrance, all of this stuff, but you don't know, and I think that's what's so important about these types of conversations that we're having is bringing to light products that we should be using, products that still make you feel good, still make you feel like a woman, but also do their job without hurting us because we know our environment and the chemicals and the products that we're using really contribute to our overall toxic load. Like it's very important to make good swaps and understand, how many chemicals we're putting on our body because it matters. It matters in 2026 when we're inundated with all of it around us all the time.
That's one of the things that I found so amazing about your site because there's or Instagram really, like your content. Your content mattered to me. There are so many cancer survivor influencer, and I always tell you, you are incredible at it. Well, it is a full-time job. I don't want to be an influencer. I have no desire to be on social media every single day. But what mattered to me is finding influencers or just women who are survivors that were sharing their story, giving meaningful advice, suggestions, support. And when I stumbled across your Instagram, I was like, okay, this is who I'm following because every post it's informational and it's quick, right? I'm exhausted, Michelle. I don't I'm going through cancer. I don't want to look at a two minute as we're doing this podcast. But no, it's funny. It's like I don't want you talking to me for 3.5 minutes about eggs. I want you to give me in 15 seconds a hook that'll make me be like, okay, what? Like she said something about eggs. Well, I just buy organic. So like, and then you take it further because you're like, oh, you want to know about this? Okay, well, here's the information, right? So it's important for me, really, like when I see things, like when I see, I hate calling it Instagram accounts, when I see women that are really bringing value, that's another component to building Re-Femme. It's a living, breathing platform that is designed and it's going to be further created by the women it serves, which is women in recovery. And it's already changed so much. I mean, having services out there and women being like, we want to consult with, I have a wig cure, for instance. I have an online or a virtual wig specialist who does virtual fittings and talks about wigs and talks about the different.
That's so good. It's such a good service. I would have paid anything for that when I was going through chemo. I was literally piecing together YouTube videos of like how to like de-shine wigs, what wigs were the best. Like I literally went out and spent so much money on like a real hair wig that I could never maintain, that never kept the shape. It was such a waste of money. And then I found through YouTube, like, oh, this is a good line. This is a good line. This is your everyday wig and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I could find, and it was so rewarding because you want to just feel like yourself. Like I was working through all of my chemo journey. I had 27 people reporting into me. I'm doing face-to-face Zooms and in-person meetings. Like I didn't, nobody knew I was going through cancer. My office didn't know. So I wanted to maintain my physical appearance as much as possible without people being like, you look off. What's going on? But I tried so hard to keep that piece of myself. And the hair piece is obviously huge with it. And so there was like random wig shops going on, but nothing that was informational, nothing that helped. And then like I had to Google like how to make a synthetic wig look real, how to de-shine it, how to comb it, how to keep it shape. And it was just like a full-time job in of itself. But when you're so desperate to have some piece of yourself back, you go through and you do it. So I just think that service alone is such a game changer for anybody going through this, especially if you're just wanting to maintain some physical attribute of yourself, like your hair.
Absolutely. And this is how it's changed already, is that from women giving me feedback. That's what's the coolest thing about this. The women that are joining, they're building it. I'm not built. They're saying, "Hey, Kelly, we want this. We need this. What about this?" And so, for instance, for this wig service, right? She has wigs that you can purchase on the site, but women were saying, "Well, I don't want to go drop all that money without talking to the. I want to see who I'm talking to. I want to ask some questions." And so I had some women being like, could you maybe offer consults before we make this purchase, right? And I'm like, huh, that's really that's not a bad idea. So redoing the whole partner page, having her do an intro, having her have a survivor testimonial, a video, so my viewers, or the women that can see, oh, she does help women who are going through cancer, and here's an example. Offering the consult, of course, and then she also has a virtual, which is so cool. Get ready. It's like a get ready with me, but how to put on makeup and do your brows and lashes when your brows and lashes fall out. That's free. You can just go on. It's called the Re-Femme, and that's another creation. It's called the Re-Femme Restore Sessions. And, she has a session that's for free for women to go and look at. That was my biggest thing. It took me close to an hour. It added an hour of getting ready in the morning. I had to set my alarm an hour earlier to put on lashes.
And the eyebrows. I feel like the eyebrows. I remember looking at pictures of myself trying to recreate my eyebrows so they looked somewhat normal and like the color. You don't realize how much you forget about what you actually look like until you have to redo it. And then God forbid you have a hot flash in the middle of it and it's like dripping down your face. And I'm like the simplest things that sometimes we take for granted is the things that people are wanting information about. Okay, so the wig services, the makeup services, which is fantastic. Okay, what are some of the other services that you provide on the website as well?
So other services I have, I'm here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and so I'm starting local, right? So I have a paramedical tattooist because there are many women in on this journey that have to get skin sparing mastectomies. So it means that the plastic surgeon will take your nipple, or the surgeon in general will take your nipple. And so this paramedical tattooist, she's also a cancer survivor herself, breast cancer survivor. She offers that service here locally in the New Orleans area. She also offers microblading. So that's something I did right before chemo. I went and gotten a lot of women do this. They'll get microbladed. So it's just a temporary tattooing. She also does lip blushing because a lot of times throughout chemo, women will lose skin pigmentation. So, or lose their pigment in their lips, or so she does that as well. And she's a makeup artist by trade. So she does a lot of counseling and guidance around that. And then fitness, right? Fitness is a huge component as well. And so we have a partner that is very well versed on offering virtual fitness plans. So being able to guide women on their journey through how to show up at the gym, or if they're not ready to show up at the gym, plans, programs on how to stay fit throughout their cancer journey. So those are just a few of the services, and I see us adding more and more.
Yeah, it's so good. Like honestly, like the sky's the limit. And you know what else I really love about the website too is that when you go there, it's so well laid out. You can, if you're just coming for information, there's an area that has blogs where you can go through the blogs. If you're going for services or in virtual services, there's an area for that. Was so well thought out. So then walk me through this. Okay. Say somebody's listening and they've recently been diagnosed. Okay. And they go to the website, they go to Re-Femme. How would you tell them to navigate and use this website to the best of their ability?
This is my favorite part of this website. I knew I wanted something calming and comforting when somebody came on, even down to the colors of what, when you come on, it's so inviting. And then I wanted it to be simple. I want, we're dealing with enough. I don't want to make this more exhausting. So when you come on to the site, up comes my story of why I created it. And it's just a couple paragraphs. And then below, it has these little pink buttons: newly diagnosed, caregiver, looking to support a loved one, you know, um, create a registry for your cancer journey. So I basically was like, I want to tell them what's on this site so they don't have to go searching. So for a woman who's newly diagnosed, I would urge her to come on to the site and click the newly diagnosed button, because what it does is it brings you to an article that I wrote about the moment that I was diagnosed. So it's not bringing you to, oh, go start your registry, or, oh, you want to see the services. It brings you to where it meets you exactly where you are. I'm newly diagnosed. What do I do? So there I wrote, it was actually one of my journal entries, like when I got diagnosed, and I just turned it into an article. And it talks about what goes on. You want to talk about the story, right? Let's talk about what happened when you were diagnosed and how you felt. And I knew early on that a caregiver who comes onto the site, a woman in survivorship, or a woman who's newly diagnosed, I wanted to connect with them. I wanted them to know that I may not our cancers may not be the same, our family life may not be the same, but the journey itself and the emotional upswings and downswings we go through, that's what connects us. And so it was very important for me to to have women understand that, like, we don't have a group chat yet, right? That's definitely a vision of mine, being able to create a space where women can mentor other women, right? Oh, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. Oh, someone who has walked that journey. Like, there are things that you have gone through with your journey as it relates to lymphoma that I can't speak to, because I had breast cancer, right? And same with ovarian cancer or metastatic cancer. I don't, and that's another component that, this literally, Re-Femme just launched December 13th. So we are looking to grow and expand, but those are two areas, women who have metastatic breast cancer, women who are diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer, which is just a different animal altogether than invasive ductal, like, or invasive lobular. It's like I am learning from women who are inboxing me and saying, what do I do about this? Or what do and that's why I was like, this woman, I was like, she knows so much about so many things that I just, right now in what I'm trying to build, it's like, why wouldn't I reach out to other women who have been through this journey, who have more knowledge? Like you said, you don't know what you don't know. And I think the most important thing about being just a human being is, and it's always served me well, being smart about what I know and what I don't know.
Yeah. And surrounding yourself with people who know more than you to help bring you up, right? And that's how we learn and grow.
Or to help who you're trying to serve. I don't know how to create a website. So I'm not going to spend hours trying to do it. I'm going to try to research and interview somebody who is aligned with what I'm trying to do. And that's truly why I connected with you, is you are aligned with what women on the platform right now I call them my Re-Femme sisters. They're looking for more support, and you being able to be such a force in helping women as they continue along their journey was something I knew I want her to be a part of this.
You're so sweet. Thank you. It chose me, not the other way around, that's for sure. But, when you get through it, it's like, how can we do better?
How can we do better? And you just said it. When we get diagnosed, I'm a firm believer in this. Cancer didn't happen to me. It really happened for me, because what it did was it deepened my relationships. It allowed me to prioritize my life on a deeper level. And most importantly, Re-Femme came from this. I feel like it was a spiritual creation, because, I believe God has a plan for all of us. And I believe that He put me in a profession that sells the products that help women with cancer.
I know, which is so crazy if you really think about it. It's just so crazy.
Oh my goodness. It's insane. And then through that, so 12 years ago, I was hired in this position. Last year, I was diagnosed as a patient. So I knew every medical, surgical oncologist, every plastic surgeon. And Michelle, was still like overwhelmed and like, what do I need? What do I do? And so I was like, if I, who have been in this space for 12 years, am having issues with trying to figure out, is this hurting me or harming me if I eat this? All the things, like all the things that I go through. Then there are other women, and there are. Before I even created this platform, I asked close to 80 women across their journeys, and then I also asked caretakers and loved ones I sent surveys out, and then clinicians, the surgeons and doctors who care for the loved ones that are not the loved ones, the women who go through cancer. And they all confirm this is an unmet need.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it 100% is. I felt the same way about survivorship. After ringing the bell and really understanding that our healthcare system has such a missing piece of the puzzle for cancer survivors, which is aftercare, and there's no really support that's in place. It's such a problem. And I remember struggling so hard, and not knowing where to start or where to begin, and being so young and thinking, gosh, if I'm going through this, there must be millions of people going through this, because I don't know one person that hasn't been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form, whether it was their mother, their grandmother, their sister, their brother, like whomever, right? Like, how is this even real? Okay, so I want to take a step back real quick. So if somebody was newly diagnosed and they went to the Re-Femme website and they hit newly diagnosed, your website prompts them through a number of actions, right? Would you recommend them making a registry first? And tell me about how the registry works too, like how they send it out to people and that. And like, yeah, tell me like how the website kind of works around the needs.
I will. So they come on, they kind of read a little more in depth of my story and the emotions that they may be experiencing once they've received the diagnosis. And then at the end of that article, it talks about, if you're curious as to, on your journey, what products you may need on your journey, then it'll take you would register for, it's all free. So you would register for free, and then it leads you to a registry. There's a button at the end of each article that's like, if you'd like to, review products or search, and they don't have to create a registry. They can come on, look at a product, click the link, and have it take them to Amazon and buy off of it. So that's another thing. It was like, I didn't want to like cage women until you have to create a No, you can go and look at the products, and they're designated and categorized by parts of the journey. So radiation, chemotherapy, surgery, non-toxic cookware, non-toxic cleaning supplies, gift cards. So if women don't want to buy, they can buy their own products. They don't want to deal with, adding a mastectomy bra, but oh, I would love like $200 in Uber Eats gift cards or Amazon gift cards. I'm constantly buying stuff from Amazon. It's insane. So being able to have that, and then they can also for free create contribution funds that we talked about. So if they're trying to buy a wig, and wigs are so, like, really nice wigs are insane. They're so expensive. So
Like, they're so expensive. I'm embarrassed. I spent so much money on a wig that I literally wore like 4 times. It was so bad.
it's insane. But you know what? It's not insane, because that I was willing to pay whatever money. Like, I didn't care. I was like, I'm going through this. If I can make myself feel a little more like myself and look in the mirror, then that's going to help make my journey softer. And so that is a place where they can also create these funds, add them to their registry. So really it kind of directs you, newly diagnosed. It's like, here, go look at this. Also, there's a must read section. I would urge women who are newly diagnosed or at any part in their cancer journey, but for women who are they just received the news. There's so many articles about here's one. What are the top 10 questions to ask your oncologist on your first visit? Right? Because that is something I didn't know.
Oh my gosh. And so many people go, and like your oncologist is giving you so much information, you kind of black out. Or there's like two different types of people. There's types of people that go and have like a million questions and they're on top of it and they're kind of like grilling their oncologist. That's me. And then there's other types of people that, this is like my husband, he'll go into the doctor's office and he'll like ask all the questions, but he gets so overwhelmed with information. He's like, I don't remember. I don't remember what they said, you know? And I'm like, you can always record it. You know, you can, and so people need these types of structure because then the worst part about it is walking out and being like, oh, I forgot to ask that question. And like, what do I do? Or I feel like I can't move forward if I don't have this answer. And then, you know, you're kind of caught in this catch 22.
Exactly. And there is an article, I believe I'm releasing it. I don't know if it might be up there. I've been like so busy, but it's an article about how to record your visits if you have an Android or if you have an iPhone. It's like something just little that like nobody thinks about.
It's such a big deal. You know what I also love about the website too? I love that there's emotional support, mental support, and then also the like product and physical support, right? Everyone wants, and think about it this way too. Like I didn't have a friend to go to when I was diagnosed with cancer. Like nobody my age was diagnosed. Nobody was giving me suggestions. Like I had to figure it out myself, which is so exhausting when you're already so mentally worn down from cancer in and of itself. But like it's like going to your best friend. It's like a website where you're going to your best friend that's giving you the best advice, telling you the best products to get for whatever stage you're at. And like, here's how to do it. And it's so smart and it's so resourceful. Like the tools that you give people are life changing and it can really make or break your journey and even just like your mindset around the journey. You know, you feel better when you have the right tools, when you're going in armed for every session and or chemo session or whatever the case is. Like it just changes your whole perspective on things. And it's truly such a mishap that we don't have this already, but like so thankful that someone like you took your experience and said, I'm going to use this to help be somebody's best friend, to help them choose the right products, pick the right things, relate to them at every step of the journey, you know, and it for caregivers, for preventers, and for survivors. And as you're navigating your own survivorship, this is your resources are just going to increase more and more, and your knowledge will increase more, which will then in turn help people too. And it's such a wonderful resource. I want everyone to know that. Like, it's like getting a hug, it's meeting people where you're at, but it's also just so informative, right? You don't have to search a million places when one website, platform, ecosystem houses all of the information.
And here's the thing, like it's growing into I have partners that are reaching out to me, like metastatic women who are going through metastatic breast cancer or metastatic cancer of any kind, pancreatic, colon, the emotional component. I have women who are certified survivor counselors who are metastatic, who are like, we want to come on and be able to offer, do they need to talk to somebody virtually? Wow, like I didn't even account for that when I was building this. And nonprofits who have reached out to me and said, hey, we want to help. And so me thinking, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool if there was a page? Because I didn't know that there were nonprofits out there that helped with wigs, that helped with cold capping, that helped with rides to appointments. We have to search that all. We have to do that. It's like hidden information. If you don't know about it, then you get through your journey and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, that existed.
I could have gotten $5,000. So it's like all of that. And I wanted to definitely like the coal capping thing, had no idea what that meant. No, like until I got diagnosed, I'm like, cold what? So there's a whole section, with Under the Must Reads about coal capping. It's called Coal Capping 101. What is it? What are the companies out there? What do the studies show? It's a way for you to get education. And I'll tell you one thing, hospitals nationally create integrative medicine components to their hospital to help with the full patient experience with somebody who's going through cancer from a non-medical standpoint, let's say beauty and wellness. So they offer acupuncture or nutritional counseling, fitness, yoga classes. And a lot of times it's like I spent all my time in the clinic walls in the hospital. I don't want to come back for a yoga class. I don't want to go back to the hospital, which reminds me of my disease, to go partake in a yoga class.
And it's re-traumatizing to go back into it too.
Right. And so, although great in theory, these are great resources, and they may help several women. But a lot of times, women have told me, and from my own experiences, that sometimes it can take a long time to get in, or and it's so to say, oh, well, my hospital has integrative medicine, so we don't need anything else. Mm, that's not true. That's not real world from the women I talk to.
Especially if it's not supporting all areas of recovery or patient experience, if it's just nutrition, sometimes it's just nutrition, or if it's just massage and acupuncture. Well, people are going through trauma, they're emotional, and there's so many other services that can help. So it's imbalanced for sure. And there's broken pieces in it too. Even here in Chicago, I had a nutritionist, I use air quotes very liberally there because I had inpatient chemo where I was in the hospital for 5 days every round, and nobody really came around, and the food that I was served in the hospital going through chemo treatments was horrifying, and this was before I even was certified or into nutrition or anything, but I still knew, like, this is horrifying and I shouldn't be putting this in my body, and crazy. So, it's like it's maybe the integrative wings, it's helping, but there's so much more that we can be doing, for cancer patients, but then there's also so much more that we can be doing for after ringing the bell and for moving forward and helping people with that support because we're so lost and we're so scared when treatments are over. We have no idea what to do. We have extreme fears of food and we have PTSD and anxiety and fears of reoccurrence. We have self-identity issues. We're shamed. We feel so shameful about ourselves. I don't want to speak for everybody, but these were things that I absolutely experienced. And I kept reaching out to my oncology team. I need help. My gut was so destroyed. And there was just like no support or help. And it was so damaging on my recovery. And it was so sad to see that because, like you said earlier, right? Cancer or chemo kills all of our cells, not just the bad cells. We're literally changing the entire environment of our body. We have to learn how to rebuild that in such a big way. But we also have to learn how to rebuild our mind first and foremost, which is the foundation of it all, and re regulate our nervous system from all the anxiety and trauma we've experienced. So it's just really, really important. And I think that the work that you're doing by launching this whole initiative, by launching Re-Femme, is just so incredibly important. And like, I thank you so much for coming on the podcast to even talk about it because the more it gets out, the more people can help, the better we'll all be. And you're going to build such a wonderful community of women that support each other. And I'm so excited to see how Re-Femme continues to grow and change and shift. And I'm so proud to help be a part of it. And honestly, it's just exactly what we need, especially with a majority of women. There was some press that just came out, I think yesterday or the day before, saying like women are more likely to get cancer than men. I don't remember the odds or the percentages or anything like that, so don't come for me, don't quote me, but I remember reading that. And so it's like a lot of women out there that are struggling and struggling for the support. And I coach so like primarily women and so many people out there that are like, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't know this," or "This should be in the front page of a newspaper," or just, people feeling isolated because they're going through something and thinking that the self-identity issues are shameful and not wanting to talk about it. And I can't even tell you how many times a day I say, "You are not alone in this. You are not the only person going through this, and I promise you that, and I know it feels so isolating." Like, I've been there, so many of my clients have been there, and it's just sometimes, like, you just need to hear that. Like, it's not just you going through it, and it's okay, and it's normal for things to be messy. It's normal for you not to feel okay week 3 out of chemo, and that healing is messy and the journey is messy. It's important to remind ourselves that and to have that community. So I think it's really important.
So true. So true. Yes. And I completely agree with like what everything that you have said. I think that's really what it's about. It's about how do I walk through these next 18 months and still feel beautiful and still feel like a woman. And that's why I named it Re-Femme. How do I restore femininity to a period in my life where I do not feel feminine? I feel sick. I feel like really, I felt gross because of all the medication that was pumped into my system.
Yeah. Well, this has been so good. It's been such a pleasure to meet you, obviously, but to get to know your experience and the website and just understanding what you're doing for other women out there, I think is so empowering. You're putting out information, free information, you guys. It's all free, like free information, free product recommendations, free support for people that absolutely need it. And it's such a missing piece of the puzzle. So, I know you don't want to be an influencer in any way, but you already are influencing everybody around you, whether you believe it or not, but in the best way possible and in your own way. And I think it's so beautiful to see other survivors take their experience and do something better with it. Like you said before, like we all have a purpose and God always has a plan. And it took me a really long time to actually be able to think that cancer helped me in some way or helped me grow or turn into a different person, but it truly did. I'm such a different person after cancer. And it's also when I found like my true purpose. Like I know my purpose is to help people recover. Like there's no doubt in my mind that I went through this to be here to help other people. And it's like when you see other people that share that same passion and that same purpose, it really is remarkable. And I'm so happy to support you in any way and to support Re-Femme. Please tell everybody your Instagram handle, Re-Femme's Instagram handle, and the website.
Yeah, so the website is www.joinrefemme.com. So it's JOINREFEMME.com. My Instagram handle is RE.FEMME_. So if you search Refemme, and then Facebook is just Refemme, RE-FEMME.
And I'll link all of this in the show notes too. So for anybody that's listening, they can go to the show notes. They can grab the website link. They can join Re-Femme then. They can take a look at all the wonderful resources that you have on there. And I'll link like all the Instagram and the Facebook too, so people can easily join.
Wonderful. Great. All right. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I really appreciate your time. Let's end it with one piece of advice that you want to give any woman that's navigating survivorship.
Ugh, survivorship.
Because you are knee deep in survivorship.
I am knee deep in survivorship. I think something that has helped me is the quote, "This too shall pass." So right now, I'm in a place in my life where I'm asking the question, now what? Now what? I've been through this whole journey and it's quiet and I feel, just I feel a sense of loneliness and a sense of sadness. And I have a ton of people around me. I have a great support system, but I still feel that. And if it was one piece of advice, number one, you can always reach, and I mean that wholeheartedly. There's a contact us section where people they reach out to me. I love being able to talk to other women who are going through it and that you are not alone, that I feel it too. And it's like, me too. I have this too. And a way that helps me is talking to other women who have gone through it or in that part of the journey. It makes me feel less alone. So knowing that they can reach out if they want to talk and that they aren't alone, that there are millions of women that are going through this right now.
Well, that's beautiful. And you will get through it and it will pass. And I promise I'm going to help you in every way possible.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. All right, guys. If you love this podcast, please share it with anybody that you know that has been touched by cancer, whether they are going through their own diagnosis, a caregiver, if they're a survivor, if there's somebody that's just a friend of somebody that's being affected by it. Please share this really, really wonderful information and resource to them. Again, it's free, and why not, right? Let's all help each other at the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.